Hello and welcome. This is episode 3 of Garden Supply BeeHub. We recently received our order of 300 Nucleus hives. Without our volunteers, we would not have been able to get them all unloaded. Here we see from left to right, Ray Mann, Jason Mills, Keith Ramsey, Phil Bennett, Jason Cirioli, and Billy Fussell and Lisa Razy, who delivered the bees from Bee Fussy Apiary in Leesburg, Florida. The nukes were unloaded with a forklift and placed in our parking lot. The bees were smoked to calm them down. Cool smoke chills the bees out after a long journey. Here's a really healthy looking nuke. Also received 50 queens. You can see that each queen is in her own cage surrounded by nurse bees that feed the queens during the journey. Apiary inspection services are provided by the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services. These inspections are done to ensure only healthy bees are moved into and from North Carolina. Here is Don Hopkins, the State Apiary Inspection Supervisor, inspecting our bees. A link to the Apiary Inspection Services is in the description below. Roger Montague is asking the questions. Take it away, Roger.
Today to have Don Hopkins with us. He's the North Carolina State Apiarist. Don, what about telling us what you're going to do today and the purpose behind it all?
Okay, well, these are bees that came in from out of state, and we need to inspect them to make sure that they are not carrying any disease or pathogens or pests from another part of the country into North Carolina. So in order to protect our beekeeping industry, we're obliged to check anything coming in for bee pests and pathogens.
What are the typical things you might find that would cause you to reject these bees?
Well, the one thing that is of critical importance is American foul brood disease. That's a regulated item. Some of the things that we look for just in general condition, I would expect that we'll find some of the more prevalent or common. Nosema is something that we look for. European foul brood, which is another bacterial disease, is something that might be seen in the diseases. But most of those are not specifically regulated. But we can, in our inspection, let the beekeeper know what to be aware of in maintaining the colonies.
Okay, Don, great. Just show us what you're going to do now.
Smoke the entrance a little bit with the hive. First thing I did was make sure I got a lit smoker. This is the entrance. And then basically we need to examine the comb, which is on the frames in the hive. There should be 5 frames of brood in here, or 5 frames of bees. Several of those frames of which will be brood. And we need to sort of look for a full cycle from egg to emerging adult. There's a little smoke to move them out of the way. And generally, depending upon who set the nukes up, they probably will have put some food on the outer perimeter of the hive, and the brood will be on the inner portion of the larvae. So we'll take a look at the next couple of frames and see what else we've got. Plenty of emerging bees on this frame, a lot of capped brood. Seeing some very callow just emerged today bees, young bees, here. typical there. And on this side, we've got brood of more varying stages. Immatures, larvae, out to eggs on the outer perimeter there. So essentially, what we'll be doing is looking at the rest of the yard, just assessing the contents of, probably not all, but a reasonable percentage of the shipment of bees. So we've got eggs here. So essentially what we got here is
So you didn't find any evidence of pest or disease, is that correct?
Well, the one thing that I didn't look for specifically that I probably should have a little bit more thoroughly, and I will in most of the colonies, and these are kind of handy, these corrugated nuke boxes. A lot of times if there are high numbers of mites, if there are any that have fallen off the bees, they'll reveal themselves on the bottom.
As far as foul brood goes, what did you check for that?
Well, that capped brood was an indicator. It had a nice solid pattern. I didn't see anything that looked suspicious as far as sunken or discolored cappings, and that would be an indicator that I would want to put that some toothpicks in my pocket that I would probe to check for disease. But I didn't see anything specific there.
So all in all, this particular nuke is okay?
Yeah, this nuke is okay.
Don, we really appreciate the service that you provide to the beekeepers of North Carolina, and we'll let you go and get started on the rest of the colonies.
Okay, appreciate it.
Thanks, Don and Roger. We installed some of the nukes as shown in episode 2 of this series. We closed the entrances to the nukes early in the morning before the bees started flying out and before customers picked up their nukes to have as many bees in the colonies as possible. Customers picked up their nukes and installed them themselves, probably after watching our previous episode in this series, all about the proper way to install a nuke. Don't worry, we've placed the link to that episode in the description below. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode, and we'll see you in the next one.